If you follow the Green Bay Packers' daily activities, you've probably noticed that any discussion about the team's offensive line always generates a lot of debate among fans. And in the last few hours, one specific topic has started to attract a lot of attention from fans: Zach Tom's future on the team's offensive line. Some speculations have begun to circulate, some theories have emerged among fans and analysts, and many people have started to wonder if the player could end up changing positions within the team. But before we really get into this news and explain exactly what's happening within the Packers organization, I want to ask you something quick. If you're a fan of the team and like to follow news, analysis, and everything that happens with the Packers on and off the field, take this opportunity to subscribe to the channel. Here we always talk about the team, roster moves, rumors, coaching staff decisions, and everything that could impact the franchise's future. So if you want to closely follow everything about the Packers, subscribe to the channel and activate notifications so you don't miss the next videos. Now let's talk about the news that has started generating discussion among fans. Recently, several conversations have arisen involving possible changes to the team's offensive line for the upcoming National Football League seasons. This is because the offensive line is one of the most important areas of any NFL team, and small changes can make a big difference in the offense's performance. Some fans have begun to speculate that Zach Tom could end up being tested in another position on the offensive line. For those who may not follow all the details of the positions, he currently plays as a right tackle, which is the player responsible for protecting the right side of the offensive line, mainly on passing plays. This position is extremely important because the tackle constantly has to deal with some of the fastest and most physical defenders on the opposing defense. Any mistake there can result in direct pressure on the quarterback and even sacks that completely disrupt the flow of the offense. But then the question that began circulating among some fans arose: could Zach Tom be moved to the center position? The center is the player who sits in the middle of the offensive line, responsible for initiating the play with the snap and also for helping to organize the line's protection against the opposing defense. Some fans believed that this change could help the team if there were changes in the offensive line, or if the coaching staff wanted to reorganize the group of players protecting the quarterback. Since Zach Tom has demonstrated versatility throughout his career, this idea began to gain traction in discussions among fans. However, according to information released on the team's official website, this possibility does not seem to be in the organization's plans at this time. The current vision within the team is quite clear. Zach Tom is the Packers' right tackle, and the expectation is that he will continue to perform exactly that function within the team. In other words, despite all the talk among fans and the various theories that have begun to emerge, the team apparently is not considering a position change for him. On the contrary, the idea is to maintain stability in the offensive line and preserve what is already working. When we talk about stability on the offensive line, it's directly linked to the performance of the offense led by Jordan Love. Since taking over the Packers' offense, Love has sought to further develop his game within the league, and for any NFL quarterback, one of the most important things is having a reliable offensive line protecting the pocket. When the quarterback knows he has time to read the defense and develop plays, the offense can function much more efficiently. Therefore, keeping key offensive linemen in positions where they have proven effective can be an important strategic decision for the team. Furthermore, constant changes on the offensive line can end up harming the chemistry between the players. The line needs to work almost as a single unit, with constant communication and synchronization in blocking. When you start moving players between positions frequently, there is always the risk of affecting this synergy. For this reason, many NFL teams prefer to maintain stability on the offensive line whenever possible, especially when certain players have already demonstrated that they can perform their roles well. Of course, this doesn't mean that changes will never happen. In the NFL, everything can change quickly depending on various factors: injuries, signings, draft picks, or even strategic adjustments by the coaching staff can completely alter a team's plans. But in the current scenario, everything indicates that the Packers see Zach Tom as a fundamental piece at the right tackle position and intend to continue relying on him there to protect the right side of the team's offensive line. And now I want to know the opinion of those of you who follow the team. Do you think the team is making the right decision by keeping Zach Tom as right tackle, or do you believe he could help the team even more if he were tested in another position on the offensive line? Leave your opinion here in the comments because it's always interesting to see how the fans perceive these decisions that can directly impact the team's performance on the field. And if you like to follow news, analysis, and debates about the Green Bay Packers, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Here we will continue to follow everything that happens with the team, from coaching staff decisions to roster moves and expectations for the upcoming seasons of the National Football League. There's a lot happening in the Packers universe, and we'll certainly have many more stories to follow in the coming months. So stay tuned to the channel so you don't miss any important updates about the team. Ultimately, the message from this story is quite clear. Within the Green Bay Packers organization, there is great confidence in the work Zach Tom has been doing as right tackle. Even with all the discussions among fans about possible changes to the offensive line, everything indicates that the team's plan is to maintain stability in this position and continue to rely on him to protect the right side of the line. And this makes a lot of sense when we think about the development of the team's offense. Having a solid offensive line is one of the foundations for any team that wants to compete at a high level in the National Football League, especially when the goal is to give quarterback Jordan Love more and more security to lead the offense and make the game happen. Now, the fans' great expectation is to see how this offensive line will evolve next season, and if the team will be able to maintain consistency throughout the campaign. Because when the protection works well, the entire Packers offense tends to grow on the field. But I want to know your opinion as a fan. Do you think keeping Zach Tom as right tackle is really the best decision for the team's future? Or would you like to see some changes to the offensive line? Leave your opinion in the comments because I really want to know what the fans are thinking about this. And if you enjoy following news, analysis, and everything that happens with the Green Bay Packers, don't forget to subscribe to the channel to keep up with the latest updates about the team. Here we will continue to bring you all the news for those who live and breathe Packers.